Yeah, as I said in a few videos today, they've been starting up again, these people that insert things into my home from somewhere else. It's done with some sort of loudspeakers. I don't know if it's like synthesized words, or if there might be audio recordings of words, but they're stalkers and they deliver threats of my life, and they say that they're neo Nazis and things like that. So I told them that they'll be carted off or whatever, like bank robbers, if they perform like that. By the sounds of it, they've gone quiet, so maybe they've switched off their electronics or walked away from it, pretending to be doing something else, because it's gone quiet now. When they said things about themselves being like the same as Nazis, they said they were. That was about 15 or 20 minutes ago. They claimed Britain to be like that. They carry out harmful crimes in the physical sense, not only because of what they insert into my home as far as words, but they also get involved in electronic crimes other than that as well. And as an innocent citizen of Britain, I don't want them to carry on getting allowed to commit crimes, because sometimes people get in trouble for playing music, but that's nothing compared to some of these people that haunt people. Because playing music is not the same sort of wrong. Because the people that commit harmful crimes are probably other people. People that done it, they're probably, like pretending they're doing something else. To if they capture, maybe they went for a walk or something. to invest enough money in convicting people. Once there's a satisfiable case against people that mean harm to us, they should be taken in, and then if the case is strong enough, they might convict them. Sometimes in the news they talk about people being stalked, and occasionally some of the culprits of stalking get into quite a lot of trouble and get jailed. But this is more sort of murky, dark, sort of natured people. These people who do things to me. Imagine if the people I'm talking about ever got jobs within hospitals or somewhere like that. How many patients never made it because of people like that? What's their skeleton cupboards is what I'd like to know. silence me with my wife for making any noise. They used to do that in the home I used to live in. First time I realised they were doing that was several years ago, where I used to live. They seem to have come to this area as well. And the total number of times they've threatened to murder me for making a sound amounts to about 20 times or more. I don't like trying to be in any way against the police, but my experience is that most civil servants that you talk to, when you report a crime, some of them, well, not most of them necessarily, but some of them claim they're assuming that it's your mental illness. Like they look at a screen and it says mental illness. And they say, oh, I know what that means. And then they tick it off as something that never happened, you know. That's why I don't usually ever contact the police directly, because you always get that sort of attitude sometimes. I'm not having a go at the police, because it's other civil servants are similar as well. I think they're an expert on this, that, and everything else. And some civil servants that I've spoken to, they even claim to know that my experience never happened. And then you tell them that it did happen, and they say, oh no, people like you don't know what you're talking about. Basically, that's the sort of words they use. They sort of say, oh, you think it happened, but it didn't really happen. They say words to that effect quite often. That's why people often are reluctant to tell anyone, because they get people saying that they don't believe it. It's like when in the past sometimes women were a bit afraid to report things because they thought the police might claim that they done something which caused it, or they imagined it or something. But as far as that's concerned, they seem to have tried to improve that now, haven't they? some of these civil servants, they claim that if you move your mouth, it must be mania, they say. And they say if you talk more than a certain number of words, they say you're becoming ill with something like a mood disorder, they say. It's because they read some website somewhere where it talks about mouth movements, so they reckon they're a consultant now. And on that subject, I've got a movement disorder, which my GP is aware of, and never had any diagnosis of any mood disorders or anything like that. And also another thing that they tell lies about, like I've mentioned hundreds, thousands of times, that I've never even been arrested for any sort of crime or anything like that. Never been arrested for any sort of reason whatsoever. But they pretend that you do things wrong, getting ready for what they'd say if they landed in the dock. So I tell them sometimes if they said that before a court, they'd be in contempt of court, probably be convicted for purging the court. I just heard somebody saying that they've never been convicted of crimes either, and they said an expression about the people that say things to them as if they think they've got them by the short and curlies, even though they've never even been convicted of anything, let alone anything else. Nor have I ever, because these people that intimidate witnesses and things like that, they have a big list of imaginary comments that they make about what they claim you've been involved in and all that. You know, I'm quite within my right to speak on here, say the things that I say, because it's very honest. And I don't have a guilty conscience, because what they say are inventory when they claim people to do things wrong. I'm going to go and have a wee. There's some people that see someone sitting in front of a camera, and if the person in front of the camera, such as me, has a disability or a mental health problem, they somehow think that we're not supposed to be in front of a camera, but I don't know why. I won't say anything about the person who's putting comments on there, but I don't know who they are. And there's only one person on there, so I don't know whether they block everyone else from putting comments on there. I don't know. But the comments I can see only seem to be from one person. Never seen anyone else's comments. Yeah, when I explain these people that do wrong things, it doesn't make me ill when I describe it. In fact, it's quite the opposite, because if I didn't explain it, it would be bottled up inside about what they do. comments from, they seem to be all from one person, as I said, and I understand all those words. Yeah, I understand that. But this seems like I only care about myself. It's not that. It's just that because nobody, like the phone never rings. So, well, when I say it never rings, I mean there's only about just a handful of people that ever telephoned my number in this century. But the people that I used to know from last century, uh, I don't hear from any of them during the past 20 something years. You know, it's not a sort of problem with sadness or anything like that. It's just being aware that the phone doesn't ring, you know. I mean, some people phone me, but other people don't. You know, almost everyone that I ever knew at any point haven't contacted me whatsoever in any telephone message or anything, or any telephone calls or anything else for that matter. Not any sort of ordinary communication. Well, if anyone sees this or sees any of their videos or any live pictures or video recordings, uh, they shouldn't allow it to make them feel worse. Because, like, there's lots of things in the world, and there's no point in um, what I mean is when someone's talking, all they're doing is just explaining what their opinions are. That's all it is. No point in people worrying about stuff like that. I mean, I use this a little bit similar to, say, for example, there was a facility where you could um, leave a webcam on permanently or whatever, and then switch it off anytime you wanted, which would go and be recorded for any official to be aware of if they had to. But that's why I speak on YouTube, because it's a bit like that, I suppose. I mean, for example, sometimes people have court cases, don't they? Not only in this country, Britain, but also elsewhere. And sometimes they have witnesses who are on a video camera for whatever reason. So it's a bit like that, really, just explaining whatever you want to say. But the only difference with this is that you don't have any lines of questions. I mean, I am aware of the things going on in the world on the news, which is obviously a whole different kettle of fish. But I better not speak about those sort of things because it's very emotive, isn't it? Someone wants to know if I feel safe. Well, I do feel safe, but when the people sense sounds of a dodgy nature through the walls, um, well, that's not a way to feel safe, is it? If they're saying unlawful things through walls. But they've been quiet for the past 30 to 60 minutes. So I suppose they try to evade detection by by pretending they're doing something else at the same time. Like sometimes over the years, I've wondered if they have their old cronies that sort of planted around that say, "Oh, I've been here all day and I would have heard it if it had happened," and all that, you know. I mean, I'm not suggesting they necessarily are cronies, but some people might be. I'm not sure how they produce the audio sounds. It's possible that it's radio receiver, perhaps, or something, or a series of radio receivers. Some of the sounds they produce are probably just recordings, but other times they are in conversation with me. The weather is mild today. It's just a little bit cloudy, but a bit mild. You know the way sometimes there's police operations where they have someone who kind of plays a part, a bit like an actor, to try to find out what people do wrong, things like that. Well, I'm not that, because even if I said that I was, it wouldn't be true. No, I haven't got any dry skin. sometimes you hear of people with a greasy palm, don't you? Maybe should have thought.
Okay.
The skin is dry there. No, I mean, the skin is not dry there. I mean, it's not just the same as it ever was. But I used to have soreness around the toes, but that was probably some other reason. When I was a child, I used to get cracked feet sometimes, but I think maybe that might have been because I hadn't washed my feet or changed my socks quite enough. That was probably why. Yeah, I suppose it was because they got really dry. Yeah, I suppose it had been, but I normally wash every single day now, so I don't get that anymore. No, I haven't got any calluses. My feet are not sore at all. The skin is alright. The skin is great. Do you have dry skin? Well, I do get pain in my feet, but not to do with the skin. It's to do with the bones because I injured the bones in my feet sometimes, but that's not to do with the skin. If I walk a long way, the bones hurt a little bit on one side. Oh, you've had that, have you? The thing you're talking about? Oh, you've got, you use something on the skin, do you? Oh, I see. Well, in London, I suppose it might be from something on the pavement, but if people walk around in the outdoors without any shoes on, that can make your feet go cracked. I'm not sure what causes it, but that's one way that you can get cracks in the bottom of the feet. I don't know if it's germs, perhaps, or something. I don't know. Because in London, there's loads of foxes that roam around, so it might be off their urine. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it can make a difference when you have to do daily chores. That's true. Yeah, that's true. It is a good idea to look after your feet if you can. But one way to look after your feet is to wash them with uh, hyperallergenic soap or whatever it is. Like you can get hyperallergenic shower gels. They're very good. And if you wash your feet every day, it might clear it up if you dry it off carefully with a clean towel.